A couple comes on the scene and the lady named Kate is 9 months pregnant. She goes to the hospital and notices bloodstains everywhere. Her newborn baby is dead, and knowing it, she is dejected and begins to weep while shouting. Everyone was looking awkward there, but Kate woke up all of a sudden. She moves to the lavatory. It had happened to them and they had lost their third baby because of this. Now Kate used to miss her baby a lot and she used to take the drug to forget him. She used to remain sorrowful and was weakening psychologically. So there was a continuous argument between husband and wife. Kate used to take the alcoholic drink to forget her sorrow. But she was habitual taking the counseling session. Kate had a little deaf daughter and there is a son. To complete their family, she suggests to her husband that we may adopt one more baby in place of the dead baby. We can adopt a younger child if not a baby. His husband agrees and they go to the orphanage. While moving around they meet a little girl named Esther. She was 9 years old and they immediately felt a connection with her. That little girl was also talking with them contentedly. After reaching the kid's nurturer, they ask her about Esther. The nurturer tells this little girl is very sensible and she sounds way more mature than her age. She is also etiquette and she is also jolly. Her family died in an accident but she survived. She knows how to speak English even though she is from Russia. Then that couple brings her into their house. Kate's younger daughter gets crazy after seeing her. But Kate's son was envied. Thinking, why did his parents bring her? Now they will not value me as before. Kate and her husband are in their room at a night. Then Esther comes there along with Kate's younger daughter. And she says, "Mother, we are scared, we are having difficulty sleeping." One day, Kate's son is playing a game in a forest nearby the house. He had a gun and he was shooting the objects. A pigeon is accidentally targeted during this by him. That boy runs to that pigeon and Esther with the younger girl also appears there. Esther says to that boy, "Kill the pigeon immediately. Otherwise, it will suffer," but he says, "I cannot do this." Then Esther says, "We will have to end his pain." She smashes him with a stone and as a result, it bleeds to death. Scene changes to school where a girl used to irritate Esther. She used to torture her with words. That girl comes to the seated Esther and touches her neck. At this time, Esther shouts which scare every child. After returning to the house it is noticed that Kate had started to love Esther a lot. She used to care for her in every way as a mother does with her kid. Kate says to Esther, "May I show you the grave of my third kid?" Then Esther accompanies her. But she begins to weep to have the sight of the grave as she reaches there. Seeing her, she feels love for her and embraces her. Kate and her husband are passing their time with each other. Then Esther instantly comes there but leaves. Kate goes after her but she says to Kate, "Don't worry. Cool down. I know everything." Kate is surprised and mentions it with her husband. Her husband says, "She was not used to living with us. And we don't know about her past." The nurturer had also told them that she has a good IQ. On the following day, Kate's husband takes his kids into the park. Esther is also along with them and they are playing there. Then a little girl is shown who used to irritate Esther at school. She stares at her mysteriously. That little girl is worried thinking, "I have not teased her now." But Esther pushes her from the slide swing. As a result, that little girl receives a serious injury. At the dining table, Kate's husband asks Esther, "What was the actual matter?" Esther says, "Father, we were just playing." She falls while slipping. His younger daughter gives the same statement. But Kate's son was looking at her with suspicion and says, "You are lying." But his parents ask him to say sorry to her. He leaves from there without saying it. Kate's husband says to his wife, now their son will not go outside for playing, because he has rudely behaved with her. They were also noticing awkward behavior of Esther. After receiving a call from Nurture, Kate reveals everything to her. The nurturer comes to their house to meet Kate and says, "I apologize. We never had any information about Esther's past. But we had often noticed that she used always present at the location where strange activities are happening. We also used to realize her mysterious behavior. It is my fault that I sent her with you." She says maybe it is my hallucination. But many strange things are happening around Esther is not a coincidence. Kate is worried due to Esther, but her husband says, "Why do you get worried?" As nurturer saying that it may be their hallucination. Esther is hearing them covertly. She takes Kate's younger daughter and holds the treehouse keys and also keeps a gun. Esther was waiting when the nurturer will leave their house. As she gets in her car, she also reaches there. She pushes Kate's younger daughter in front of the car as it drives on the road. Getting off the car, she immediately looks at that little girl. But Esther attacks her from the backside. That nurturer dies on the spot because she hammers her head many times. Her younger sister was very frightened, but she explains to her that nothing happened. We needed to kill her. She takes her to the treehouse with her and cleans the bloodstains on her body. Kate's son glimpses them when they are coming out of the treehouse. Being suspected before, he keeps an eye on her. But he hides as Esther casts her glance in that direction. Anyhow, she had seen him. When he was sleeping at night, she goes to him with a paper cutter and threatens him not to open his mouth. That couple brings Esther to a counselor while observing her awkward behaviors. But Esther confuses the counselor and explains to her that Kate is not behaving well with her. Kate's husband is infuriated after hearing it. It was your plan, so why are you not getting the courage to tackle her? The marital conflict again begins between them. They receive a call from the orphanage and they are told that the nurturer is still missing. The police investigate this case as this news travels outside. And they found the dead body of that nurturer. Kate and her husband get worried, thinking she visited our house last time. How did she die on her return? They decide to find out about the past Esther. Kate says, "We will get information from that Russian orphanage." They searched for the girl named Esther everywhere. But they come to know that no girl named Esther was in any orphanage in Russia. Then the scene turns and Kate is working in the kitchen. Esther comes there with flowers. Kate loses her temper after seeing it, because those flowers belong to her younger daughter's grave. She tries to snatch those flowers from her while gripping her arm. But she is not giving her flowers. Then Kate's husband approaches there. And he stops them. Kate moves to her daughter's grave while weeping. In the next scene, when Kate's husband arrives at the house, Esther says to him that I have been beaten badly by Kate. She did it by herself. Kate's husband feels inadequate because he had never thought his wife was so cruel. He begins to create a distance from his wife, but Kate is already not feeling comfortable. She begins to take alcoholic drinks, noticing her husband's behavior. She goes to a shop to take the alcoholic drink but wastes it later. One day, Kate is going to drop her kids off at school. Her son's books are dropped down from his bag when he was entering the school. Kate goes there to return his books, but Esther starts the car and it goes backward. Kate's younger daughter was also in that car. Kate and the people surrounding her try their best to stop that car, but no one can stop it. It stops while striking with snow at the backside. After running there, Kate takes her daughter out of the car and left more worried after this incident. Noticing her depression, Kate's husband calls her counselor at home. He explains to the counselor that she had brought an alcoholic drink last night. But Kate tells them that I did not take a single drop of alcoholic drink. Kate's counselor says to her, "We have to send you to the rehabilitation center." Now Kate's son goes to his sister and asks her, "Do you know something?" Then that little girl begins to draw something on the paper. After witnessing it, he understands that Esther has been murdered along with the evil doings. Now he was sure that Esther is an evil girl. He says to his sister, "I will collect some shreds of evidence from the tree house." On the other side, Kate is checking her room. She finds a book there having many photographs. There was also a name mentioned of an institute. Being curious, she calls to that place for investigation. And after asking her, she gets to know that Esther was in a psychiatric hospital. Contrarily, Kate's son comes on the scene, who had visited the treehouse to collect evidence. But Esther also reaches there and burns all pieces of evidence. As a result, the whole treehouse is burnt out. He also receives some injuries. But Esther comes downstairs after locking him in the house. He was locked, then somehow he comes out while opening the window. But he was badly wounded while the treehouse was still set on fire. After falling from there, he loses his consciousness. Kate was observing through her house and runs to daughter, witnessing her son knocked out. Meantime, Esther is going to throw a stone at that kid while lifting it. Then that Kate's younger sister approaches there and forbids her. At the same time, Kate also arrives there and takes her son to the hospital. Now Kate is attempting to explain to her husband that Esther is responsible for all. But he says she is a kid. She cannot do that. Esther reaches the hospital furiously and tries to finish him there. Fortunately, he is rescued. Kate becomes aggressive and slaps her violently before everyone. She knew that it has been committed by Esther, but the doctors prove her a mad woman. Kate's husband embraces Esther. Now it is seen that Kate is in the hospital and her husband returns to his house with his daughters. Coming to the house, he drinks alcohol and Esther comes there. After dressing up and putting on the makeup, she sits near Kate's husband. He was considering her to be his daughter, so he leaves that place. On the other side, Kate receives a call from that psychiatric hospital. And they expose who is actually Esther? Kate is left shocked after hearing it. It is told to her that Esther is not a kid but a young lady of 33 years old. They tell that she suffers from a disease in which her body had stopped growing. But her mental age is 33 years old, like a mature lady. She took revenge for it from the people and befooled everyone by appearing as a little girl. He also tells her that she was notorious as an aggressive patient in the hospital. She has murdered many peoples. He tells her that she also murdered that family which adopted her before you. The speaker on call instructs Kate that the police must be involved in this matter. Otherwise, it may be risky. Contrarily, Esther is shown who is taking off her makeup. She had some scars on her hands and neck, but to cover them she used to wear strips. On the other side, Kate's husband was regretting himself, talking angrily with Esther. He goes to say sorry, and after going to her room, he observes many mysterious paintings. Then he receives a call, and at the same time that little girl, who is 33 years old, attacks him from the backside and murders him. His younger daughter is also there and witnessing everything. She hides in her room. On the opposite, Kate is also returning to her house and she also informs the police. Reaching her house, she observes that her husband is dead. She feels regretful and weeps a lot. Why did she didn't get it before? Kate searches for her daughter throughout the house. Then Esther also fires her gun at her, leaving her wounded. On the other side, Kate's younger daughter hides in a greenhouse from Esther. But she was also searching for her. Meantime, Kate comes to the roof of the greenhouse and she was trying to divert the attention of Esther. At the same time, she jumps over her. Police also arrive there. Esther had been knocked out in the greenhouse and Kate comes outside taking her younger daughter. She again restores her senses and attacks them. But the younger daughter kills Esther while firing a gun. That bullet misses the shot and targets the frozen water. She begins to drown gradually and Kate with Esther is both fallen into the water. Somehow, Kate comes out of the water. Esther again pulls her down but she throws her while hitting on her face. As a result, she is wounded badly and loses her consciousness in the water. Kate leaves with her daughter from there. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching and don't miss out next movie recap displayed on the screen.